Yo, yo, yo. The D.O.G.E plan to reform, I've seen that before, reform, alter, and abolish. Plan to reform government following the Supreme Court's guidance will reverse a decades-long executive power grab. Written 11/20 by Elon and Vivek. Most legal edicts aren't laws enacted by Congress, but rules and regulations promulgated by bureaucrats, unelected, tens of thousands each year. Let's look at some more. DJT has asked the two of us to lead a newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, D.O.G.E, to cut the federal government down to size. The entrenched bureaucracy is a threat to our republic, and politicians have abetted it for too long. They are doing things differently. We will be outside the government. Outside the government, reforming it. We are assisting the Trump team to identify and hire a lean team of small government crusaders. Now, it says including sharp legal minds. Yeah, there's some. D.O.G.E and his crew. This team will work with the new administration closely with the Office of Management and Budget. They will advise D.O.G.E at every step and pursue three major kinds of reform: regulatory rescissions, administrative reduction, cost savings. We will focus particularly on driving change through executive action based on existing legislation, rather than by passing new laws. Our North Star for reform will be the United States Constitution, with a focus on two critical Supreme Court rulings that happened under Biden. Here's the two cases. We'll look at it, but you got to keep in mind, and they subtly tell you in this, that these cases aren't new law. These cases are evidence of the law, newly revealed, which was a long time hidden. West Virginia v. EPA in 2022, the agencies can't impose regulations dealing with major economic policy or questions unless Congress specifically authorizes them to do so. So the agencies can't impose regulations on our rights, is what the fundamental law is. And then you got Loper, Bright versus Raimondo in 2024, and the court overturned Chevron doctrine that held federal courts should no longer defer to federal agency interpretations of the law or their own rulemaking authority. Same vein, the agencies don't have power to make law. Congress, we gave them power to make law, and they can only make law in pursuance to the constitutions, all 51, including all of our rights, which are in all the constitutions. So you can't make statutes or laws over or that touch or that abrogate our rights. So we don't need these cases, but, they're catching up. Together, these cases suggest that a plethora of current federal regulations exceed the authority Congress has granted in the law. D.O.G.E will present this list of regulations to the president, who can immediately pause the enforcement of those regulations and initiate the process for review and rescission. This would liberate individuals from regulations new and not passed by Congress. Not passed by Congress. Congress cannot regulate your rights, so they can't create agencies to then indirectly regulate our rights. You are not permitted to do indirectly what you can't do directly. It will be correcting the executive overreach of thousands of regulations promulgated by administrative fiat that were never authorized by Congress. The president owes lawmaking to Congress, not to bureaucrats deep within agencies or any agencies at all. The use of executive orders to substitute for lawmaking by adding burdensome new rules is a constitutional affront. But the use of executive orders to roll back regulations that wrongly bypass Congress is legitimate and necessary, mandated, to comply with the Supreme Court's recent mandates, which were simply them declaring what the law is that we wrote. A drastic reduction in federal regulations provides sound industrial logic for mass headcount reductions across federal bureaucracy. An agency only needs enough people to perform its constitutionally permissible duties. Constitution must permit. It cut off a little bit at the top, but it says conventional wisdom says that civil service protections stop the president from firing federal workers. Hoax. He's the chief executive. He can fire anybody in the executive, full stop. The purpose of these protections is to protect employees from particular... but the statute allows for reductions in force. Okay. The statute further empowers the president to prescribe rules governing competitive service. The power is broad. The presidents have used it in the past. Blah, blah. They weren't constrained by the Administrative Procedures Act, and neither are the people, by the way. Trump can implement any number of rules governing the competitive service that would curtail administrative overgrowth, from large-scale firings to relocation of federal agencies out of D.C. Get the heck out of here. And erase a bunch of them. D.O.G.E will help end federal overspending by taking aim at $500 billion plus in annual federal expenditures that are unauthorized by Congress or being used in ways that Congress never intended, or going outside the trust and spending our money in ways they aren't permitted to per the grants of power, or using our money to attack the people in administrative tribunals with unconstitutional regulations, all these things. Like, this doesn't quite go far enough, because we got to talk about the private acts that these government officials have engaged in, which confers zero immunity, which then they should be seeing something called due process of law and being charged with maladministration and breach of trust, and then we can put them in jail, which is what should happen. And you see at the bottom, they even hit Planned Parenthood and NPR at like $500 million for garbage propaganda. This is a historic opportunity for structural reductions in the government. We are prepared for the onslaught from entrenched interests in Washington. There is no better birthday gift on our 250th than to deliver a federal government that would make our founders proud. You got work to do.